Across the endless backdrop of endless night, a small space shuttle floats aimlessly through space. And that's the beginning of Aliens. This is my videos that I'm going to be making, called Movies from Memory. And if you haven't guessed already, this one's going to be on Aliens, the 1986 sequel to Ridley Scott's Alien, directed by James Cameron. So let's get right into it. At the beginning of the film, like I've just said, the Narcissus is just floating in space aimlessly, and he gets found by a salvage team. They go in and they find Ripley and Jonesy asleep in the cryopod. So they take her back with them. They don't get the salvage because somebody's alive, apparently. Anyway, they take her back to Earth, to Gateway Station, where she's looked after until she starts to come round properly. She's having nightmares all the time about chestbusters coming out of her. And then she has to go in front of this inquiry board, like, you know, HR at work or whatever. And they want to know why she blew up the ship. She tells them, they don't believe her. Or maybe they know more than they're letting on, we don't know, do we? But she gets, like, demoted. She goes to work, off to work in the, like, loading bay or whatever. So, I mean, that's a good scene when that happens. There's this woman like, oh, well, what you're talking about has never been reported in over hundreds of aired worlds. Well, it wouldn't be, would it? Because the military one, it'd be top secret, but, you know, she gets chewed out for it anyway. Then later on, one of the people that was there, Burke Carter J, he's a real jerk, piece of work. He goes and tells her, well, we've there's a colony on the planet. Sorry, I missed that bit out. She finds out and there's families there, and anyway, they've lost contact with them. They wanted to go back. She doesn't want to go back at first, but she thinks about it and she decides she'll go. So she asks Burke, are we going back to wipe them out? And he says, you have my word. Well, if you've seen the film, you'll know. But anyway, she agrees to go. She's going in with the military. So then you get another scene of them all on the Sulaco, which is the military ship that they go on, and they're all asleep, and then they wake up, and there's some funny lines. Like Vasquez, who's the badass Marine, she has some good lines in it. Like Hudson says to her, have you ever been mistaken for a man? And she says, no, have you? It's quite a funny line. And somebody says, who's Snow White? Talking about Ripley, which is funny because Sigourney Weaver was in a version of Snow White as the evil queen. It's just a side note. Anyway, they get back to the... They all get up, they have something to eat, and then Ripley's annoyed because there's a synthetic on board, which, if you remember from the first one, Ash tried to kill the entire crew to protect the alien. Anyway, Bishop, who is the new synthetic, says, you know, I can't harm humans, it's against my programming, but she doesn't believe him, she doesn't want anything to do with him. So they have a briefing, and they're all like really, you know, gung-ho and, you know, like, you know, cocky and what's the word, like really sure of themselves anyway. They're not, nothing to worry about. They're not worried about this mission. They're going to go in and kick its ass, and it's going to be alright. So they go down to the planet on the dropship, where you find out that Gorman has only ever been on 2 real missions. All the rest have been simulated, and he's the guy who's in charge, so that's not a good start. They get down to the planet anyway, and they go into the colony. And this is all from memory. I don't know if you've seen my other video or not. I'm just telling you the basic thing of the film. Anyway, they get down there and they can't find anybody. So they get the power back on, and all of the colonists have got these things in them called PDTs, which is a personal data transmitter. And they're all underneath the cooling system in the atmosphere reprocessing centre. All of them are there, and there's no explanation for it. Bear in mind, Ripley only ever experienced one alien, so she doesn't know what's going to happen if there's more than one. So anyway, they go in, looking for them, and all the people in the crew, all the people from the colony that are still alive, apart from one, a little girl called Newt who they find. But everybody else has been cocooned and implanted. It's a full colony. Now there is a scene that was in the director's cut of Alien, a cocoon scene, but it was still a little bit different because, well, I'll get to that in a minute. But it was taken out. It was put back in. I have it on Blu-ray. I'm glad they put it back in, but I can see why they took it out because it does slow down the end of the film. Anyway, they find all these people, and one of them wakes up and she's like, kill me, kill me, kill me, and before they can do anything, a chestburster comes out of her. So they flamethrower it, and then all hell breaks loose. All aliens start coming out of the walls. And they've got the tracker, but it's like, you know, they can't work out where it's coming from because, like, it's not really said, but I think that the colony itself is alive. It's like a hive mind, and the colony, the resin that they put all over the walls, that's part of it. That's alive as well. So that affects the readings on the motion trackers. Anyway, they get attacked. Some of them get killed. Quite a few of them get killed. And they get back to the APC and they drive out of there. And then they go back to the other part of the colony and they start welding themselves in because, oh, no, they have to be rescued. But the dropship crashes and it takes out a load of essential equipment as well. So they have to go back and make a plan. So they go back to this other place, the first place where they were, the science labs, I think it was, where they had some facehuggers, by the way. The colonists did. So they find out they can get the other dropship from the Sulaco, but somebody has to go and remote pilot it in. Well, Bishop offers, because he's the android, and the aliens aren't interested in androids anyway, because they can't use them, and they don't recognise them as even being alive. So they make all these plans. They put robot sentries in the halls. This is if you're watching Director's Cut, which I assume everybody will do by now. In the 86 version, there's scenes that aren't in it, but anyway, I have missed some out as well. I've missed out at the beginning. Newt's family go and find the derelict, and that's how the alien gets to the colony. But it's too late now. I'm going to keep going because this is from memory. Anyway, Bishop goes off, and they get ready for a last stand. Well, he's piloting in the dropship, and eventually the aliens come, and they can't get past the sentry guns. They're holding them off, and then they get down to nearly no bullets, but the aliens give up, and they don't realise that there's no, they could get in, but they go off, and then they start looking for other ways to get in. And in the meantime, Burke, Carter J, the jerk, he tricks Ripley somehow. No, he doesn't. Ripley finds out that he wanted to get an alien back to the Earth, so she's saying, I'm going to tell them when we get back. So then a little bit later on, Ripley goes to where Newt is, where she's asleep, and she goes and lies down on the bed with her and falls asleep. And then when she wakes up, they're locked in the room, and one of the facehuggers has been put into the room with them. And guess who did it? That's right, it was Carter J. Anyway, they're trying to keep it away. There's two facehuggers, so they're running away from them. And then eventually Ripley realises she gets her lighter, she puts it on the sprinkler system, which sets off an alarm. And then the Colonial Marines come and save her. And then it all comes out that it was Burke who'd done it. So they're going to kill him, but just as they're about to drag him off and kill him, Ripley doesn't want him to, by the way, but just as they're going to, and the aliens are coming. Oh no, wait a minute. Maybe there isn't an alarm. Anyway, the aliens are coming, and it's a lot of them. And they're looking on their motion trackers, and it's the signal's just indistinguishable. There's that many, you can't work out where one starts and the other one ends. There's that many coming. So, like, they're getting closer and closer, and they can't see them, they can't work out how they're getting there, and then they realise in the ceiling, it's got like a cavity, and they're crawling in through the ceiling. So they all start jumping down and they're running away, and they're like having to weld through doors to get away. And then Burke runs through a door and locks it behind him so they can't get through. So they have to cut it, and he runs off. Anyway, he gets what's coming to him because an alien grabs him. Anyway, they run out of places to run, so Newt suggests running through the air conditioning vents, which they do. So they're running, and then there's an explosion. Vasquez starts and blows up a grenade because she's been grabbed. Her and Gorman have been grabbed by the aliens and they're going to die. So she sets it off a bomb, kills them. But the shockwave knocks Newt down a duct or a tunnel or something into like the subflooring, but they can't get down after it because the adults are too big. So they get around and they go to where because she's got a little PDT belt thing on her arm, like a watch. So they work out where she is and they start cutting the floor out. And the aliens are coming. So Ripley said they're coming, and Hicks is like, I'm doing it. Then she gets grabbed though underneath by an alien, which takes her off. And then so the aliens are coming, so they run to get in the lift. They press the door doesn't close, and it starts to close, and an alien jumps in through the door, and Hicks shoots it, kills it, but the acid for blood goes all over him. So then he gets it on his face and all on his body and everything. Anyway, they get up to the landing pad, and Bishop has brought it in now, the dropship. But Ripley wants to get Newt, so he flies Ripley around to where she can go to get into the atmosphere processing plant. And she says, don't go anywhere, and Hicks says, we're not going anywhere. So Ripley goes down then, and she's looking, and she finds the little watch, but Newt isn't wearing it. And then she's about to start crying, and then she has Newt scream, because the facehugger's about to jump on her. So she runs off to where she is, and she shoots the facehugger, pulls Newt out of the thing, out of the resin, picks her up, and then she's making her way out, and then all of a sudden they're in this big chamber, and she sees it. Queen Alien, the one that's laying the eggs. That's where all the eggs are coming from. This wasn't in Alien, you didn't know about it. This is new to Ripley as well. So she threatens the eggs so the Queen will let her go, and then just as she's about to leave, she turns around and she's throwing grenades and all the eggs and everything and shooting them. The Queen rips herself free from the egg pouch at that time. Ripley runs off for a lift, and the Queen's following her, and it's big. So Ripley manages to get to a lift. The Queen's about to get her, and they get in and they get away, but she's pressed both buttons on the lift, so the other one comes down as well. And when they get to the top, there's no dropship. And then she's like, what am I going to do? And she turns around, and the other lift's coming up, and the Queen's in it. But just at the last minute, Bishop appears, so they manage to jump onto the dropship, and he takes them back, but an explosion knocks the dropship over. Now, this is a little bit controversial, because people can't really work out exactly how this happens, but the Queen gets on the dropship. Anyway, they get away. Sorry, I didn't mention this. The atmosphere processing plant had been damaged. I mentioned that, but I forgot to mention it was going into meltdown, and they only had so long to get away, and they have like 15 minutes before Ripley goes to get Newt, so there's minutes. So they get into orbit, and it blows up behind them. They get on the ship, and like Ripley trusts the synthetic now, and he's like, did I do good? And she says she did good. And then all of a sudden, alien tail rips through him, and it's the Queen. She picks him up and rips him in half. But he's a synthetic, so he's not dead. So then Newt goes and runs under the subflooring, and Ripley runs into the back, and she gets this loading suit. And she comes out, and the Queen's about to pull the floor up and she's pulled up the floor and she's about to get Newt. And Ripley comes out and she says, hey, the iconic line, get away from her, you... I don't know if I can say it. B-I-T-C-H. Anyway, so they have a fight. Ripley's beating up the Queen, and then the Queen, she's going to throw it out the airlock again, like she did in the first film. But the Queen drags Ripley's loading suit down on top of her into it's a big airlock. It's got a door at one end and a door at the other, like a normal airlock, but it's like a cargo airlock, I suppose you could say, and it's massive. So then Ripley has to climb up this ladder to try and get away, and the Queen grabs a shoe, but Ripley manages to open the door and it gets sucked out, and she manages to get in and shut the door, and they're all right, and then they go and get back into hypersleep. But Hicks is okay as well. He's burnt, but he's not dead. She puts him in hypersleep. She shuts down Bishop. He's never going to be the same again. Totaled, really, but he still functions. And then Newt and Ripley get in hypersleep and go to sleep. And I kind of feel this one wasn't as good as the one I did for Alien, but I'm trying to do it off memory, so I've not watched the film for a while. So I'm deliberately not. So, I don't want people to think it's not a good film, because it is a good film. It's easily as good as the first one, I'd say. So it's enjoyable anyway. The first one might be a little bit... They're different films, really. The first one's like a haunted house in space. The second one's more of a shoot-'em-up type action film. But it's still a good film. Definitely recommend watching it. Anyway, they go off, and that's the end of the film. Now, do you want me to do Alien 3? Not as many people like Alien 3. I do. I think Alien 3 is a good film, but what do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. If you want me to, I will try and do Alien 3 from memory as well. But I've seen Alien maybe more than Aliens in the last few years, because when I was younger I thought Aliens was better, but as I've got older I've changed my mind. I do think Alien is the better of the first two films, even though I love Aliens. But I don't know, the first one's, it's more claustrophobic in a way. I don't know, it's tenser even. They feel like they have less of a chance, even though there's only one alien in the first film. In the second film, they've got all this weaponry. Although that does change as you go along, as I said, because they find out that they're not as much of a badass as they think they are compared to the aliens. The aliens are like living weapons. So, you know, that's one thing to consider. But still, anyway, let me know in the comment section below which you prefer out of the Aliens films, 1 or 2. Are you really controversial and you like the fourth one best? I don't think there's many of you around if you do. But anyway, I'd be interested to know. Anyway, let me know what you think, and if you like this video, give it a like, and yeah, I'll do some more. Anyway, thanks for watching.